But if we go to our weekly chart, we can go back to the period of the 1970s, which was really the last time we had inflation that was kind of out of control, right? And what we saw in the 1970s was this up move for 2 years from 73 to 75, then this consolidation from 75 to 77, and then look at the bull run that took place after that. This mega move, in my opinion, this is what we're starting to get into on gold. And if we go back to the current time on gold, the same sort of pattern. Here's your 2 years up, your consolidation, and now you're getting ready for that bigger move.
In late 2021 and early last year, while the rest of the investment world was completely fixated on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, one famous technical analyst stuck by his guns and predicted that gold was going to be the world's best-performing asset in 2022. We saw his prediction play out nicely with the leading precious metal easily beating both equities and bonds. That analyst was Gareth Soloway, the president, CFO, and chief market strategist of InTheMoneyStocks.com. Gareth is a renowned technical analyst and veteran swing trader with over 2 decades of experience trading stocks, commodities, bonds, and for the past decade, cryptocurrencies. Despite his experience with many other asset classes, Gareth is again predicting that gold will be the best performer in 2023 and possibly even 2024, when he says the yellow metal could be trading as high as $4,000 per ounce. And Gareth is not just bullish on gold. According to the popular technical analyst, the overall commodity space is on the verge of a massive bull market that could see prices double or even triple. Gareth recently joined the Commodity Culture channel for an interview where he discussed his predictions for the overall commodities market and for specific metals like gold, silver, and copper. While presenting his analysis for gold, Gareth explained that the present weekly gold chart is almost exactly identical to the 70s weekly chart. As you would recall, during the 70s gold rush, the yellow metal made some massive price gains as the U.S. Federal Reserve struggled to put a lid on soaring prices. There lies another similarity between the current environment and the 70s. With the recently announced core PCE figures, experts are certain that inflation is now stuck between 4 and 5%, very far off the Fed's 2% target. With so many similarities between both periods, Gareth believes gold investors are about to have a very good year. Before we listen to more pure technical analysis from Gareth Soloway, please take a little time to like this video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you never miss any of our videos. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
Yeah, so I do think we're on the verge of a big bull cycle in commodities. In fact, I've talked about, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, the gold chart and how it's borderline breaking a triple top. I've talked about how the 1970s chart is very similar to what we're seeing in gold here. 1970s gold had a 9x in that period. So I think gold especially, I think the other metals as well, although some of the other metals are somewhat an industrial metal as well, and I think that's a little bit of an issue, just because if we do see a global recession, that obviously could take a little bit of demand away. But I do believe that we're on a verge of an overall big move in the commodity space. So exposure-wise, there's a couple ways. So I'm a big believer in having some physical metal on hand. You don't need a lot, but the way I look at it is if we wake up one morning and the grid is down and the banks are closed and our credit cards don't work, maybe we don't have any cash on us, then you have physical gold as a way of buying things in that type of world. So you don't need a lot of that, but it's kind of like just I sleep better at night having some physical gold and silver on hand. The other side of the coin would be that we're at this point where you have the chart signaling this bigger move to the upside. And again, I love being able to show these charts here. And just for everyone else out there, in terms of what I play on a swing trade basis, so if I'm trading gold, I'm usually using the GLD, or if I want the miners, the GDX. And again, the GLD is the ETF that tracks gold, the GDX tracks the miners. So that enables me to get in and out. If you're buying physical gold, it's not the best thing to constantly sell it and then buy it back and sell it and buy it back. It's more of a long-term kind of pass it down to my kids if I don't need it type deal. But when we look at the gold chart, I want to show you this. So number one, if we zoom out on this chart, you had the move up from 2018 to 2020. From 2020 to basically the end of 2022, we went sideways to lower. Now, in technical analysis, this up move followed by this choppy consolidation, that's a bullish pattern. That's known as a bull flag. Since 2023, we've seen gold starting to take off. It reattacked a triple top. Essentially, we have 1, 2, 3 hits. Triple tops notoriously cause pullbacks, which is what we're seeing now, but they're shallow pullbacks, usually with a breakout that follows. So I do think that within a month or two, we are above this level. And I think by the end of 2023, we're probably looking at $2,300 per ounce gold. And I think even north of 4,000 on gold by the end of 2024. The only way we can predict the future is by looking at what happened in the past based on the same factors that are occurring, right? And generally we see history, if not repeat, at least it rhymes. And so this mega move, in my opinion, this is what we're starting to get into on gold. And if we go back to the current time on gold, the same sort of pattern. Here's your 2 years up, your consolidation, and now you're getting ready for that bigger move that should take us up. Now, in all fairness, I don't want to get people too excited here. I don't see gold doing a 9x like it did in the 70s. You know, back then you didn't have Bitcoin as a potential alternative and other things like that. But do I think it can do a 3x in the next few years? Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
3x from current prices will see gold trading near $6,000 per ounce. Considering the number of economic and geopolitical woes plaguing the United States economy at the moment, what are your thoughts on Gareth's prediction for gold? Do you think 3x is conservative for the yellow metal, or the comparison to the 70s is too much of a stretch? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. During the interview, Gareth also gave a brilliant review of silver and copper charts. The white metal is known to be more volatile than gold, both during the upside and downside moves. Gareth is predicting gold prices to skyrocket within the next few years, but his predictions for silver and copper may come as a little surprise. Here are more clips from the interview.
If we take a look at the silver chart, so number one, there is more volatility in silver. Silver tends to go down more than gold and go up more than gold. The biggest risk factor to the silver trade, if you're going to be in silver, is that gold is a pure play on inflation and fear, while silver is a play on inflation and fear plus the demand from the industrial complex or you know, businesses essentially, right? If you think about car batteries and all these other things that silver goes into, that is again partially a result of the price action in silver. So if again, and this is something I'm fearful of, is that we're headed towards a bigger macro slowdown as the Federal Reserve has raised rates, global central banks have jacked up rates to fight inflation, it likely will slow down the global economy. The Fed's even predicting now a mild recession. And the question you have to ask yourself is how much does that take away from the silver move when gold is the pure play? So again, longer term, if you ask me 5 years out, I think silver probably outperforms gold. But in the near term, I think actually gold likely will outperform. In fact, if you just look recently in the last few days, we've had such a sharp pullback in silver. And if we go back to the gold chart here, it's been barely a pullback on gold. And if we remember the pattern that we had just looked at on gold, and even uranium, where it had that move up and then it was kind of fading and going sideways to lower, what you actually see here is the exact opposite, right? Where you have this move down and then this sideways consolidation. And look at what happened just within the last day or so. We had a breakdown below this area. So this to me actually signals that copper is going to go lower, which again, even though I think the longer term picture, the 5-10 year outlook on silver is going to be, or on copper is going to be rosy, I think in the short term, recession, China slowing down maybe, all of those things will drive copper down. So I would be bearish on copper here based on the chart. You know, what I love to do is when we talk about years out, I love to flip over to my monthly chart, which gives us such a big viewpoint going back to the late 90s even. And one of the things that jumps out at me right away is you could see there's some trend lines here, right? So we could even make a case where you have a trend line right through here, right? So again, look at that. It's amazing. From this high, right, it touched right here, then it touches here, right through here and here. And that, by the way, was the COVID panic low right in there. And what this would tell me, and again, if I was an investor, which I am, and I'm looking to buy copper at a certain price, and this is a big drop, but this would be like where you would load the boat, is if you had a fall, let's say in the next 6-12 months, and copper went down to about $2.50, that's the point. Like that's the golden ticket right there. That long-term trend line right in that point, low risk, high reward, and a major long-term technical support line.
Gareth is predicting a 70s-style gold rush in the other half of 2023 and possibly into 2024. The current economic environment in the United States could very much open a floodgate that would see investors turn massively to precious metals and other trusted commodities and safe haven assets. And there is the worst-case scenario of everything hitting the fan someday. especially if the US and the dollar lose their place as the world's superpower and reserve currency, or if the World Economic Forum achieves its aim of ensuring we don't own anything. What are your thoughts on Soloway's predictions for gold, silver, and copper? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching.